Great, thank you, and good afternoon. And also thank you to the organizers for having the chance to speak with you this afternoon. I wanted to start with a couple of very quick acknowledgments. The gentleman over on the left of this photograph is Dr. David Kane. He is the founder of IFG and our original plant breeder for the company, and I am very grateful to have the opportunity to take over and continue the work that he started. The other gentlemen in this picture, this is Craig, Glenn, and Glenn Stoller, as well as Jack Pandel. They are the primary shareholders of IFG, and I just wanted to quickly thank them for their continued support for the program. So you'll also notice that I'm showing this group of gentlemen in a table grape vineyard. And there's a few reasons I'm doing that. One of them is that I think IFG at this point in time is best known for its table grape breeding program. And in fact, our table grapes are now, I think we're over 30,000 hectares in about 14 different countries around the world. So it's been very, very successful. And the good news is that the success from the grape program has allowed us to put more and more resources into our cherry program, especially with additional hires for cherry-specific personnel around the world. And at the very end of my talk, I'd like to highlight a few people for you that are important members of our cherry team. The other reason I wanted to point out that picture was taking place in a table grape vineyard is that our cherry breeding program is located in the same place as our table grape breeding program. We are smack in the middle of the southernmost district of California's Central Valley. This is what I would consider to be a marginal area for sweet cherries. There are a few producers of sweet cherries, but it is also a very, very challenging climate. So if you look at our immediate neighbors, they tend to be other grape growers, almonds, citrus. They tend to be what we would consider more extreme climates than you would typically find a sweet cherry. So in our growing conditions, we typically get over 45, sometimes 60 days where we have temperatures over 38 degrees in the summertime. So this would be after our cherry harvest season, but the trees themselves are exposed to very intense temperatures. And we're also one of the lowest chill regions that is attempting to carry out a cherry breeding program. Varies substantially from year to year. We're talking about 550 to 650 chill hours. Of course, that can vary a bit. And then also the cloud cover we get varies quite a bit from year to year. And it's a dry region. We don't receive a whole lot of rainfall during our season. Objectives of the cherry breeding program, very common to some of the other presentations you've heard today. But I do want to focus on that two of the main goals of our breeding program are on early ripening cherries, and we're also trying to develop very low chill cherries. We are trying to continue to push the envelope on just how low of a chilling requirement you can get into a commercially acceptable sweet cherry. And that is very much the long-term focus of our program. So in addition to the maturity and the chilling requirement, important characteristics, things like flavor, good texture for the fruit, of course, large size. I mentioned we're in a very hot environment after harvest, so we have a very strong selection pressure against doubling of fruit. There are not too many other places in the world that have summer temperatures in excess of what we see during our summertime. And so that's something that we put a big emphasis on. Good stem attachment to the fruit, crack tolerant, consistency of cropping from year to year is very, very important. And then also good storage and shipping capabilities. We have some growers that are interested in growing our cherries and then shipping them very long distances, and so it's very important for us to maintain, to evaluate the shipping quality of some of these cherries. So why are we interested in low chill cherries? Part of it is just due to our location and ease of logistics, but we are very much interested in moving sweet cherry production into non-traditional cherry producing areas. Some of our current growers might not like to hear me say this, but we are very much interested in expanding opportunities into places like Mexico, Peru, other places with very, very low chilling requirements. and attempting to fill some of those gaps in the production schedule throughout the year, which currently cherries are not available. In addition to that, some areas that may traditionally have grown sweet cherries are becoming more marginal. We are in a situation where the climate is warming, the climate is changing, and along with that is we are very interested in trying to develop cherries that have more consistent cropping in such a changing environment. So our own internal definitions of chilling requirement might be skewed a little bit lower than what most people refer to. I try to generally divide our varieties and selections into 4 broad categories based on their chilling level. And the lowest of which I would say are those varieties that have a requirement under 300 chilling hours. So we're talking pretty low and from what you would typically think of what is capable with a sweet cherry. And then sort of a more intermediate level, we call it low to mid, between 300 and 500 chill hours. Mid-chill, which we're calling 500 to 700, and then high-chill varieties above 700. So I did mention the main focus of the program is on low-chill, but in the parentage for our varieties, of course, we do have some higher-chill varieties and selections that were used because generally they had better quality. And so the varieties that we've released up until this point in time actually have a range of chilling requirement, from very low to what you consider very high. And the focus is going to continue to be on low chill, but in those cases where we do have some interesting selections at a higher chill, we are going to be evaluating those in a more appropriate environment and try to fill some needs there as well. So I was going to briefly go through some of our named varieties. And I think if I've got them in the right order, they're in their order of their chilling requirement. So this is the first variety, and all of the varieties I'm showing you today have the prefix of cheery, not cherry. So they are happy. They're happy cherries. So this is Cheery Crunch. And most of my comparisons are to varieties in our standard variety in California, which I understand might not be the best comparison for some of the European visitors here today. But the standard variety for us in the central part of California is Brooks. So a lot of my slides are referencing maturity in comparison with Brooks. So this cherry ripens on average 5 or actually even a little more days earlier than Brooks in our site. It's Chelan size. It's not our largest cherry. It's only maybe 24 to 26 millimeters. Very low chill. So we're talking 300 chilling hours, possibly slightly less. It's very productive. It crops consistently. It's not self-fertile. It's S3, S6, but if you see the trees consistently over time, they definitely have the ability to crop consistently. We use a FirmTech for measuring the firmness on our cherries. This is a very firm cherry. The FirmTech is consistently in the 400 gram to millimeter range. Not very much pitting potential. For an early cherry, the eating potential and the flavor of this cherry is actually very, very nice. If you know anything about our grape program, we're really trying to make a name for ourselves as providing new varieties that have outstanding flavor, and we're trying to keep keeping that image intact with our cherry program as well. So I do have also a couple of blush cherries. So this is our lowest chill, earliest ripening blush cherry. The name is Cheery Blush. This is at least 2 weeks earlier than Rainier. I think it's actually a little bit earlier in some seasons. Similar characteristics as Cheery Crunch that I just showed you. Also very low chill, 300 chill hours approximately. It's very early blooming, similar bloom time. At least in our low chill environment, some of the low chill cherries can bloom very early as well. Consistently productive, slightly better natural size. It's more of a 26 millimeter cherry consistently. FirmTech is also very good. The firmness is good. Stems are nice, excellent. S1, S6. Cheery Burst, starting to get a slightly higher in terms of chilling requirement. This is probably more of a 300 to 400 chill hour cherry, and slightly later maturing than the first two I showed you. so about 3 days earlier than Brooks. But along with that later ripening, we're starting to get some improvements in fruit size, so closer to a 30 to 32 millimeter cherry. One thing I should point out, in a number of our selections, we actually have unknown S alleles. So our cherry program is actually very diverse if you go back and look at the founding parents that were used in some of the initial crosses. And so I just want to mention that I think the genetic diversity that we're possessing in the program is actually quite good. Cherry Grand is also in the similar time frame, 2 to 3 days before Brooks. It's more of a medium chill variety, maybe it's a little bit closer to the low chill, 400 to 500 chill hours, also 30 to 32 millimeters. This has been planted commercially in a few different locations now. Cherry Treat is, again, I'm moving in progression slightly higher chill as I go through these slides. A little bit closer to Brooks timing, more of a 500 chill hour in terms of requirement. 30 millimeter cherry, excellent firmness. This is usually one of the stars of our storage trials. We store everything that we have for 40 days, and then we evaluate them after 40 days of storage for defects. And this one is always very high on the list and is getting quite a bit of interest in certain parts of Latin America. Cherry Glow is another blush cherry, about 7 to 10 days before Rainier, somewhere in the 300 to 500 chilling hour requirement. Also very good storage results for a blush cherry. Very nice stems for a blush. Good post-harvest. Cherry Moon is the last of our name varieties I wanted to mention. This is the highest chill of any of our varieties that we've released up to this point, so over 700 or 800 chill hours. It's about Chelan timing in terms of maturity. It has good size and firmness, excellent flavor, and this is also getting commercialized in Chile. Very quickly, I didn't want to spend a whole lot of time on these, but we do have things coming through the pipeline. Those 7 varieties I just mentioned, those are actually from our very first wave, our first generation of crosses that was made in the IFG program. Several selections have now been evaluated from a more recent, newer generation of crosses, and a number of those are looking outstanding. We have a high chill selection that's quite a bit earlier than Chelan and better than Chelan in many characteristics that we're very interested in continuing to evaluate. And then we also have several low chill selections that if we had any visitors in the room to California earlier this season, you would have seen that we're really pushing the envelope in terms of lowering the chilling requirement even further, but maintaining excellent quality. Just a couple more slides here. I wanted to mention that we do, if anyone has the opportunity to visit, we have a field day coming up in Washington near Prosser on June 14th. Of course, the emphasis will be on higher chill selections there, but anyone that can make it, you're welcome to come, and please let us know. Date is still to determine, but we will also have another opportunity to see our cherries the very first week of November in Chile later this year. And then just to quickly highlight a few of our cherry team members, we've been expanding quite a bit over the last few years, so I should point out Monica here on the bottom right is a commercial manager in Spain, Nicola Della Betta from Italy, and then also I should mention Lynn Long is also recently retired from Oregon State that is now helping us out in our international cherry program. So with that, thank you very much.
Grazie Christopher.